Now then, to the nerds! The nerd squad! Gonna cut the YouTube video for Primal to be a bit shorter. Best Catboy! Alright, hitting the books. Let's go read. Grahar Borger will be my motivation here. Beautiful acoustic guitar. While we're at it. I'm just hitting all of them. Because I'll be hacked if I remember which ones I was actually supposed to press. It's the best Catboy. And they will mend the rift with their father. Yeah, Catboy lore. And then the squad had a massive reading session. Catboy lore. I do wonder if Corvus is going to play into something in the future. You almost have to think it almost will because of how much it's been brought up. In the sex pack. Let's free Catboy's homeland. Next adventure. Someone predicted in a Discord I'm in that would be the next exploratory area akin to Eureka and Post-Gem. And then the squad had to read. Let's talk about the final days. In case you missed it. Here's what happened in the Final Days edition. Come forward, Zodiac. Wait, no. And then Heidelin was made. And then but no, it was like, nope, we're gonna have to just do Sundered stuff. Leave us the Sundered, it's better this way. And then the squad started reading. And nothing of value was learned. Well, I could have just taken the etherite. Whoops. Bum, 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 bum. That dash is almost too much fun. I'm a waiter now. Just a heavily armed waiter. That is just too much fun. Chill time with Alize. Before we go to the princess and lose our minds, meeting the male Vieira and the MSQ. Except I'm technically a male Vieira, so...
When our father disowned us, I couldn't believe what I was hearing.
Don't worry, I'll make up for it with your dad.
That his words began to sink in, that I began to feel the weight of what it meant.
Being a Vieira is stupid.
Do you remember when the decision was made to come to Charlian? Graham said that the Forum was determined to keep us in the dark, and that Father's venomous performance was part of that strategy, to keep us at arm's length. Perhaps it was. Father argued with Grandfather on many occasions, but never with such dismissive contempt. And when he demanded what justifies the sacrifices we make in war, I honestly didn't know what to say. Neither did Alpha know, I know, but never for one moment did I believe we had made the wrong choice. So all I could do was fume silently. It was only afterwards that I realized how childish I had been. How being stubborn and self-righteous must run in the family. If I could have just mustered a civil response, then things might have turned out differently. They must be ferrying goods to Labyrinthos. A vast complex beneath the island. Sharlayan is famous for archiving knowledge from around the world. Well, that knowledge is not preserved exclusively in dusty tomes and desiccated samples. Our living library, comprised of all manner of flora and fauna, is housed and studied within that underground facility.
That's how dedicated they are to their job.
Still,
You gotta
it
give
did
it credit.
seem to be an unusually large shipment. When I lived here, it was rare to even see such cargo transported by boat. Wait, didn't you hear something in the last stand about the gleaners coming and going more than usual? Well, I think they're the ones we saw manning those boats. And gleaners answer to the forum. If the appearance of the Telophoroi prompted this sudden burst of activity, then Labyrinthos may hold a clue as to what the forum is planning.
It's got an airship in it. A spaceship, actually, in the bottom layer. And Heidelin. Heidelin's down there. She's just vibing. Let's get it! Go team! Robot hunt. That is indeed hunt. Oh, I already attuned to this one. I meant to keep running. Up I go. Yum. Gonna tune to this before I forget to do that again. It's labyrinth time. They're gathering stuff, and a lot more stuff than normal. That means suspicious activity. Let's get it. Best Catboy is gonna go to the Forbidden Library and accidentally trigger an alarm, but that's okay, because he's Best Catboy, so he's forgiven. When you already know the way for an NPC, but you gotta wait. Does it count if I'm ahead of her? She is supposed to be leading me, but I know the way. Me not attending to the Ethernet will come back to bite me in the butt later, but it's fine. Let's go, friends. Let's go.
Deep beneath the scholar's city shines a false sun within a fabricated sky. In any age exist those who consider the floor an extension of their bookshelves, and this vault's architects surely belonged to that special breed. If the stack grows too high, start a new one. If no room remains, then make more rooms. A simple solution at first, and then bit by bit, a profound transformation. Knowledge buried beneath knowledge, a growing, creeping labyrinth from which there is no escape.
Labyrinthos.
Not what you expected. I must admit, the artifice is very convincing.
but I assure you that we are beneath Sharlian itself. The breeze you feel, the flowing waters you hear, all created by the hand of man.
They're just very dedicated to the
The
job.
island is volcanic, you see, and once upon a time this great hollow must have been a reservoir for magma. It was discovered some 400 years ago, at which point it was repurposed as a storage facility for scrolls and samples and such. Renovations have continued, with nigh on no interruption to this day, with the lower levels still undergoing expansion.
They're keeping an airship down there. The spaceship's down there.
Aye, judging by their dress. They are said to work alone as a rule, but 'twould seem that rule is being enthusiastically broken today.
Imagine being overworked and being told you can't talk to your friends.
That they are engaged in a task apart from the norm.
Let's spread out and get some answers then.
Go team. Heidelin. Well, first time? First time?
No. How odd. I must be a bit dizzy from the descent.
First time? Heidelin's just trying to talk.
Let's
Heidelin's
get
just
to
trying
work,
to talk
shall
to you, or possess you, so she can talk to me. Well, talk to both of us. It's very complicated. I need to go get my flower. Let's talk to some gleaners. And now for my fellow male Vieira. They're exhausted, overworked, and underpaid. Your standard 9-to-5 job. The crouch. Let's go catch a rat. Hey ho, fellow male Vieira, let's get it. Oh god, where is it? Do I remember where it is? Over here for the first part. But then I remember it runs. Oh, I should have. Oh. Tries to do Reaper abilities. Thing dies one hit. Stupid mouse. It runs. I remember where it runs the final time though. Because I ran past it. Wasn't gonna run past it this time. I'm too smart. Squad! It's just Hyland trying to talk. It's just Hyland. Also, as someone pointed out here, I'm gonna go with two. This is going around. Every aetheryte here in Labyrinthos is surrounded by water. Why do we have these ponds here? Imagine teleporting and getting your socks wet. And wet socks are not fun. Anyway, because I've already played this, it's just down here, the airship. The ship in Ultima Thule land. And oh man, was that a time. Can we take the lift? No, darn. It's for very important purposes, I swear. We weren't even doing anything wrong, man. Can we use the lift? No, get out of here. Darn. It's back to the Malvera. Erenville is actually pretty chill, so like I actually like him. And I mean, it's the one MSQ Malvera we have, which is kind of tied into what she just said. Malvera, in the canon lore, so to speak, don't really appear in numbers, so we weren't going to see very many of them. And we did not. We only saw the one. Is it chasing me? I just don't want to fight! Okay, it's the one that caws, not the one that does not caw. Dang it! I still managed to hit the wrong one. It's the other one! My bad. Sorry, wrong bird. I can't read nor follow instructions. It's the green one. Can I get the angle on it? I missed. Stupid bird. I shoot first, ask questions later. Whoops.
Shot. Nicely done. Let me truss this one up and I'll make my way over to you.
There you are. Any new revelations?
Birds.
So you met with that gleaner again, this time to capture a hornbill. I understand catching and bringing in creatures from the outside, but what's the point of chasing after ones already here?
Oh, it's a simple thing, really. Occasionally, we remove specimens no longer needed for study, or those we've had difficulty raising. But we can't simply turn them loose. Safely returning such creatures to their native habitats is another facet of a cleaner's duties. But not in this case, I'm afraid. I've been asked to bring the bird below.
The restricted section in the lower levels of Labyrinthos. Open only to a select few researchers handpicked by the Forum.
They got a spaceship.
The projects down there are the subject of rumor and hearsay. Forbidden magics. Advanced technologies that can never be
Advanced technologies is not that far off.
Even Archons are not privy to the truth. Those who are, the researchers involved in this secretive work, are not permitted to walk freely in the city, and are instead required to live in isolated quarters.
What could a facility subject to such strict security protocols possibly need with a hornbill? An experiment?
Possibly. I wasn't afforded an explanation. Judging by the requisition list given to me and my colleagues, I doubt it's for any kind of advanced research. I'd be more inclined to believe we were making preparations to migrate to the south. Mericidia or thereabouts.
What? Why would you say that?
Much of the flora and fauna we were asked to procure could serve as reliable sources of sustenance. They're comparatively hardy species, too, able to endure harsh climates. And among them are specimens known to be effective in improving soil quality and purifying water.
The moon.
When you put
'Cause
it that
they were
way,
preparing to
migration
leave.
Does sound like a reasonable assumption.
That's all it is, though. An assumption. Through our tasks, we gleaners glimpse only bits and pieces of the forum's plans. Our prime concern is that our requisitions, be they living or otherwise, are properly preserved for the knowledge of future generations. Now, I really must be going. I regret that I cannot reward you as you deserve.
Perhaps you might reward us after a fashion, then. It is imperative that we reach the lower levels. And seeing as you are already set to descend with your assigned cargo, mayhap we could accompany you as your assistants.
I'm afraid that won't be possible. Once the animals have been prepared for transport, we send them down separately via the lift. I will, of course, follow after to make my report, but I can hardly pass you off as porters when there's nothing left to carry.
Indeed. Pray forget I said anything.
How do you feel about climbing? If you've strength and the courage to brave it, then there is another way down.
In through the mines.
This
Don't
path
do
leads
this
to
at
the
home.
33rd facet, a mine shaft excavated during one of our expansions of Labyrinthos. While I cannot guarantee that the passage is safe to traverse, it should provide access to the medial circuit below.
I never even knew such a place existed. Thank you. This is the perfect solution.
You're quite welcome, but consider yourselves warned. If the going proves too treacherous, you do well to turn back. I bid you good day.
Well, turning back is hardly an option, not when we've come this far. Let's go and take a look at this mine shaft.
Let's get climbing. It's just a mine shaft. Don't try this at home. Oh, I forgot to do Soul Soul again. I should really keep activating that, but I always forget. Overkill. It's a farm. Gasp. The fruits, huh? Get it? Everything will be revealed in due time, or if you need me, you already know that what's going on. They're just preparing to leave, go to the moon, and go to a new world, but that won't happen because that's my spaceship. For the memory, I really didn't notice this my first time, which was the point. What is it, these grapes? HD grapes right there. Except I, as a developer, understand that I don't know why people would make it such a big deal about the low poly grapes. You're not going to spend time making that when you're really not even here for that long. I could have just taken them out. The flower! Which later leads us to a grand adventure of time travel. Out of context, that sounds pretty wild, but that's what happens. Flower! Wall stare.
Hard to look away, isn't it? But they're more than pretty flowers. Heart blooms are attuned to ambient emotion. You don't seem convinced, but believe me, it's true. This ashen grey, for instance, it mirrors the anxiety and urgency of those working nearby as they rush to fulfill sudden orders. Intense feelings like those spur the petals to change colour. Bright glowing hues in the presence of joy. Dark, subdued shades for frustration or despair. Yet even with the collected wisdom of Charlian at our disposal, we've yet to identify the underlying principle of this.
Don't worry, I figure it out when I time travel. Entelechy. Well, we don't really figure that part out, but...
Besides, although the flower is extraordinarily long-lived, its low reproductive rate has made it difficult to find younger populations growing in the wild. With too few sightings to map its distribution, and no closely related species to track, we've been unable to pinpoint its land of origin. To further complicate matters, every culture, even dimly aware of its existence, has given it a different name and mythos. Our attempts to study it via the historical record have been an exercise in frustration. As an avid botanist myself, I should one day like to unravel the Heartbloom's secrets. But I'm afraid other duties must take precedence. I will leave you to your thoughts.
The Alpis flower.
Have you learned aught of interest?
Flower has emotions.
A flower that reacts to one's feelings? Strange. I must say, I have never heard of such a thing.
This is all very fascinating. But as it stands, we fail to gain any significant insight into the Forum's undertaking.
Indeed. While there is certainly enough activity to support Erenville's supposition that a priority has been placed on improving food production, unfortunately for our investigation, these workers were never informed as to how their duties serve the master plan.
If only we could interrogate the Forum members directly. Isn't that the entrance to the arcade?
Lo and behold, our male Vieira friend.
I think that's Erenville.
A little difficult to tell from here, but I think you're right. He did say he was coming down to make his report.
Erenville receives his orders from the Forum. Would it not follow, then, that the superior to whom he reports is a Forum member? Or at least a close associate?
You mean to eavesdrop on their conversation? What of the risks?
What are the non-existent risks? It's
Ours
time to be a
alone is there.
toad.
We won't interfere with Erenville's work, nor will he be implicated as an accomplice. If you're not comfortable taking part, I can do this alone.
Nay. I said myself that I wished to know Father's intentions. And no answers will be forthcoming should we simply ask nicely.
We can apologize later, should it come to it. Right now, we need every crumb of information we can get our hands on. Consequences be damned.
Consequences be damned.
It might be best if you came along as well. In fact, we should all...
Carl's too busy staring at the flower. It's just Heidelin.
Crier?
It's just Heidelin.
Oh, yes. That certainly sounds like a plan.
I'm glad you agree.
Quickly! Erenville is on the move. We need to get closer before we lose him.
Go team. It's time to be a toad.
Almost. I can almost reach you.
It's just Heidelin. Let's be toads. Let's be toads. Let's get toaded on. I've always wanted to be a frog. I've always wanted to be a frog. Okay, please click on. I'm trying to click on Alpha Note. There we go. Let's go, my fellow frogs. Hippity hoppity. I like how my dog follows. Three toads and a dog. Very, very not suspicious frogs.
I trust you will find your compensation to be more than satisfactory. We wish to make clear that we are pleased with the efficiency and thoroughness of your work. So much so that we have come bearing new tasks in need of your competent hand.
Another lengthy list. If I may speak frankly, the Gleaners have been pushed to the point of collapse by your unending demands. We are not familiars to be exploited. We are Sharlayan scholars, and we deserve an explanation for this unseemly treatment. What warrants such urgency?
Something, something, end of the world.
In an age long past, Sharlayan was charged with a momentous duty.
Something, something, end of the world.
And now that word of the final days hangs heavy in the air, the time has come for us to fulfill that charge.
I love it because they can't actually speak about it. It's not that they're trying to be dodgy, it's that they can't. Well, they are trying to be dodgy about it, but they can't also talk about it.
But I promise you this. All will be revealed in due course. And when it has, you will understand that your toil was in service to the greatest good.
Then I will do your bidding. For now. But unless you wish the Gleaners to rise up in protest, I advise you to offer tangible improvements for our working conditions. Your promised revelation does nothing to address present circumstances.
A fair point. Your concerns will be conveyed to the Forum.
I hope that was informative. You may consider my debt to you repaid in full. While I do have my reservations about the Forum, I want to believe that they have our best interests at heart. Which is why I'm reassured that you're busy sniffing out the truth of things. We can ill afford to place all our eggs in one basket, this master plan of theirs, without first understanding the risks involved.
Wait! How did you know it was us?
Imagine trying to fool her.
Try studying the real thing. And don't try to fool an expert.
Trying to fool an expert like Aaronville. Zero out of 10 on the Toad performance. Kyle's gonna go talk with Heidelin, or talk to me as Heidelin, or... The Elpis flower, which will help us time travel later. Out of context, that just sounds really weird. That's what we do. We go time traveling to the world of Thunder to Elpis. The flower was up, which means I need to go around. Let's talk with Heidelin.
For you. The spell will keep it from wilting. She said you would need it for the journey ahead. Will you speak with her now? I cannot hope to match Minfilia's clarity, of course, but...
Thank you. Do not worry. She has lent me her body for only a moment. Just as I could not save the first from the flood of light, it has become arduous for me to interact with the physical world without assistance. Though I might converse with you for a time, the incorporeal form I assumed on the ship would be incapable of casting even the simplest enchantment. It is in the depths of the ethereal sea, the place to which all life returns, where my influence is greatest. After Menphilia's sacrifice on the first, it was to the sea, here in the source, where I ferried her soul. I wished that gentle spirit to find rest in the world she loved so well. Her, and another who may yet have a part to play, though that will depend on you. Take the flower, walk free, for you are free, to go where you wish, to believe what you will.
I'm a free man.
Blue will be your guide, test and proof of your conviction.
Thanks for the flower.
Seek joy, surrender not to sadness, and see beyond despair. Walk free and bear the light for others to follow. Together, raise it aloft and let it shine till the end, blinding and radiant.
That was all too brief. Already she seems so far away. My apologies if I startled you. Ever since we began our descent into Labyrinthos, I had sensed another's will, straining to reach out. Even with my particular talents, though, I was unable to make a connection at first. So weak and tenuous it was. Once I took hold of that wispy thread. Imagine my surprise to discover it was Heidelin herself. Needless to say, it seemed wise to learn what we could before letting go.
Flower time.
Her answers were more cryptic than I would have liked, but at least she left us with a guide of sorts, that unusual flower.
Flower. That will eventually help me time travel.
Yes, we are definitely making progress.
Let's lose our progress, because the farm's here to arrest us.
You can't be serious. We've done nothing wrong.
Oh look, the forum's here to arrest us. Hello, former father of the children that will later be the father of the children because you get a redemption, but I don't forgive you?
What business has the forum with us?
Obstruction and suppression, apparently.
Oh, that's rude.
Mistress Baldessian, our records show you facilitated the Scions' entrance into Sharlayan by claiming them as assistants.
Technically, we are. We're pals.
We are aware of your investigations. After alerting the major institutions to the presence of potential troublemakers, we received word from an Archean custodian.
Talk about rude.
Operating under the auspices of the students, skulking about Labyrinthos and engaging in clandestine behavior.
Look, man.
Clandestine? We may not have entered Sharlayan as Scions, but we did naught to conceal our identities.
I mean, yeah, we were being pretty open. That's the funny thing. We were being pretty open about who we were.
To seek the truth. I can think of no reason why our actions should warrant the forum's intervention.
'Tis not our way to discourage the pursuit of knowledge, but the timing of such pursuits must be considered, not to mention their potential impact. With the world in chaos, we, the true caretakers of wisdom, have committed ourselves to an undertaking that demands the utmost discretion. And we will not risk its success by turning a blind eye to disruptive foreign elements in our midst.
Talk about rude.
What then is to be our fate? Will you put us on a ship back to Eorzea?
The Forum will convene to examine your case. The results of said inquiry will determine your future in this city. As for your absent companion, he has already been detained.
Can't believe you arrested the cat.
But why? Is reading a crime now, too?
Reading is encouraged, celebrated even. Not, however, of the volumes shelved in the restricted section of the library.
Shouldn't have put those books in there in the first place.
Refusing to comply will only make matters worse. Let us instead treat this as an opportunity to open a dialogue with the Forum.
Silence is often one's best defense. I would advise against prolonging the proceedings with frivolous discourse.
Oh no, we're gonna throw hands. See, he may get a redemption later, but I still don't like the dude.
This is not the place for debate. The rostra await.
Forgive me. I was careless.
We would have been detained regardless. This way, at least, we managed to stay together. I trust your time within the Forbidden Archives was well spent.
The Forum will come to order. This inquiry is now in session. As Speaker-elect, I will be presiding over the day's proceedings. Master Fortuner, would you be so kind as to restate the matter which compelled you to summon your colleagues with such urgency?
We're attempting to learn information, and that's bad.
We recently denied Eorzea's request for Sharlayan assistance. Since then, certain individuals dissatisfied with our decision have taken it upon themselves to interfere with our work. They entered our nation masquerading as associates of the students of Baldessian. But these malcontents are better known as the Scions of the Seventh Dawn. These militants wield influence with both the Eorzean and Eastern alliances, and are inextricably involved with the crises presently afflicting the world at large. Loose in our city, these warmongers sought to meddle with and expose matters of state secret. What are they, if not a dire threat to be expelled?
Talk about rude.
You have tarnished the good name of the students. Galuf would be ashamed.
Angry. I love it. The hand for the fist.
Baldessian was never one to forsake his fellow man. Even if this nation closed every door and retreated from the world, he would have found a way to help the Scions.
Retreated from the world.
The star fight back against the coming doom.
Because they're planning on fleeing. Aha, it was right there in front of my face.
A terrible enemy stands poised to lay waste to all we hold dear. In the face of such madness, Eorzea reached out to Sharlayan, a respected ally, in the hopes of forming a united front.
Wouldn't that be nice? What if we were all friends?
Dismissal truly the best you could offer? Or are you so preoccupied with your momentous duty of an age-long past that even the end of the world is unworthy of your attention?
Whence came this revelation?
From the mouth of a Forum member within fortuitous earshot.
Then it seems your findings support my own. reason I visited the restricted shelves was to study records of the Forum's policy-making process, to better understand the historical trends underlying their most major decisions. At first glance, the positions of neutrality in war and the accumulation of knowledge above all else appear constant and consistent, the unchanging pillars of Sharlayan society. And once upon a time, I might have left it at that. These days, however, I am more attuned to the subtleties of governance, and so I noticed something odd.
Crap, boy, I ran the government, so I know how to do this kind of thing.
From a particular point in time, the purpose of these policies shifted. No longer was knowledge preserved for the benefit of society. Rather, society was to be gradually reshaped to ensure the preservation of knowledge. The most conspicuous and telling change was the one which befell Labyrinthos. Once little more than an oversized storehouse, an enormous allocation of funds saw it transformed into an advanced research and archival facility. I also discovered a fascinating account on the finances of our Dravanian colony. The settlement attracted students from far and wide, and the connections and tuition fees thus acquired were funneled into further improvements for the archives. Now, there is no question that our nation's progress is tied to the acquisition of wisdom. Nevertheless, the vast resources diverted for this purpose borders on the obscene.
Go get him, Cap. Look at him go.
But returning to the matter of when, our change in course appears to have been made some 270 years ago.
The very same period when Sharlayan scholars in the hinterlands began a formal study of the ethereal sea.
And they ran into Heidelin.
You found something, did you not? And whatever it was, gave rise to your oh-so-important duty.
The song.
Mind your tongue, Archon. If you had seen...
But they can't talk about it because it's forbidden.
Yes. We are bound by a duty we cannot ignore. Knowing this, what would you have us do? Abandon our
Just stop being a dick.
On the field of battle? We will never choose the way of the sword. We will fulfill our mission not through strife and bloodshed, but survival. Come what may, we shall live on.
We must. I love the CGI trailer lines with all flipped in order.
Do as you must, then. But we Scions will fight until the heavens fall, until our last breath.
Damn right. Go team. Everyone stares.
Such misguided zeal.
Father, Master Fortuner.
The correction, my poor boy.
I fail to understand the stance you have elected to take. But by the same token, I have yet to find a compelling argument to counter the challenge you put to us in Gridania. Still, in the midst of my uncertainty, I must trust in myself to do what is right, as others have chosen to trust in me.
That's right. Woo!
So I will continue, as I always have, weighing the consequences of my every action, and allowing my hope for the future to inform my decisions.
Go team!
That's quite enough. Have you all forgotten the reason for this assembly?
Skolok Monteshane. He's the head of the Studium and an old friend of my grandfather's.
Honestly, every discussion devolves into some interminable debate. Terrible habit. Let's return to the topic at hand, hmm? By their own admission, these scions have resolved to fight alongside the Eorzean nations against the doom which swift approaches. But there exists no evidence of an attempt to incite our citizens to do the same. Furthermore, while our decision may well have been the correct one, we cannot simply bull our way through these disagreements without inviting doubts or objections. Put yourselves in their place. Who among you would leave a tome unopened if an elder forbid you read it with no reason given? No. If we're to quell further discontent, then we must conclude this matter with a fair and even hand.
Order! We will have order! Master Montaigne raises some valid points. Keeping such concerns in mind, I propose we enforce the following measures. Until further notice, the students of Baldessian are to cease any and all activities within the domain of Charlian.
Oh no, what a shame. We can deal with that later.
From any further investigation into the Forum's decisions and duties. Failure to comply with
It's okay, I have a world to go save anyway. I don't want to be here.
Of your scion associates.
I gotta go clear the Tower of Zot and then go to the Empire.
Let us put this judgment to a vote. All in favor, raise your hand. I count 51 for and 48 against. The proposal is passed. Students, scions, you have heard the Forum's judgment. Pray abide by it, or face the consequences. Honored members, I thank you for your time. This inquiry is concluded.
What a fun group. See, Catboy may have hit the thing, but it's fine because he's the best Catboy. And he makes up for it later. With Borger. Why are they so reluctant to explain their action in plain words? Because they can't! That's the fun part about knowing. They can't explain it. And he's doing it for his family. For the kiddos, but I hate him for it anyway. And it's mother time. Let's go visit your home. Okay, but like, hang on 1 second. I need to hit this Ethernet. Nailed it in time. Let's go, kids! It's just me and my kids. Me and the kiddos.
Welcome home, my lady.
What? What are you gawping at?
Is this what it feels like to be rich?
I'll have you know I'm quite fond of the Rising Stones.
Lord Fortuneau is not to hear of this visit. And I should also like the children to have their gifts, ere my husband makes his return.
As you wish, my lady.
Master Alphino, Mistress Alice, if you'd accompany me upstairs.
We shan't be long.
The twins have been sending letters home from time to time, recounting their latest adventures.
We've been having a good time.
They withhold certain details, of course, if only to keep me from worrying. Yet a mother worries all the same. In the early days especially, I tried to support them as best I could, sending the Scion's coin and other such donations. Fortunately, they have
A
found
good
the
parent.
strength to overcome adversity time and time again. Their words
This
grow
is a
more
good
confident
parent.
with every letter, their depictions more vivid. The triumphs and defeats, the joys and sorrows. It is clear that they have come to find value in every experience. But of those they treasure most, it would seem that meeting you might be the most impactful. Why, since that fateful day, I do believe there has not been a single missive in which you were not mentioned by name.
I'm just, oh, so important.
'Tis plain they care for you, and I am glad they have such a steadfast companion watching over them.
They are my kiddos, and they watch my back too.
Under normal circumstances, I would offer you tea, but alas, these are anything but. In any event, why don't you keep me company whilst we await my children's return? Perhaps you might regale me with a tale or two of your exploits.
When you mentioned gifts, I wasn't sure what to expect. Mother,
Oh, look how well it fits you. And the style is to your liking.
I love that it is. I love that she is the one who gave them their new stuff. Even the Alphina sage.
It's perfect. Exactly what I would have chosen. But please, tell me you had something different made for Alphina.
Naturally. You are hardly little children anymore. And while I shall miss dressing you in those precious matching outfits, I must respect the individuals you have grown to become. See for yourself.
My boy's a sage.
Thank you for the splendid clothes, Mother.
Alphina, I'm finally getting an actual job change.
Practical.
I am so glad you like them. They are, however, missing one final touch.
I like how during the entirety of the scene, I'm honestly just back there in the background.
Wait. Are these...
A sage's tools of the trade. They belonged to your father.
I'm just awkwardly there in the background. Also, your dad used to be a
He may
sage.
as well be chained to his desk these days. As a student, he was often called upon to venture into the field. He wielded those armaments, both to heal and to harm in no few battles. None so fierce as those you two have braved, perhaps, but battles nonetheless. Thus did I pull them out of storage, to show you that he was not always the man who stands in vehement opposition to you now. And also because it would be a terrible waste of ridiculously expensive House Leveilleur commissioned artistry.
Your mother said, get a new job. You are a sage now.
I am told these devices are quite difficult to master, but someone of your extensive experience should soon have them darting about with grace and aplomb. May the wisdom in that crystal serve you well. And please, try to find common ground with your father.
Don't worry, we'll forgive him later.
Come and go without need for this awful subterfuge.
We will, Mother. I promise.
And I promise to protect these children with my life.
Are an observation and a suggestion. Firstly, Fortunato has ever been a serious man. But it was only after you were born that he truly lost himself in his work.
Because he was doing it for the kids.
I may not know the Forum's inner workings, but I know your father's. The timing of that change in him holds some significance. Secondly, do not seek to best your father with words. Far better that you simply show him. Let him discover the merit of your actions, after they cannot be undone.
Oh, Mother.
We shall take your wisdom to heart. Thank you again for these gifts, and farewell for now.
Safe travels, my children. Eat well, stay warm, and keep your friends close.
Don't self-sacrifice. Wait. Looks at the end. Not a day goes by where I don't think about the ending. I'm fine. Pingu was in fact not fine. Alright, Red Mage. And Sage. Let's go do Tower of Zot. They met Hydaelyn. That's the secret. They met Hydaelyn. So anyway, the Tower of Zot. How far am I going today? I don't know. Let's get it! Now that we're all back in action together.
Your time in Thafnir has certainly been eventful. In my opinion, carrying out Vitra's request and assaulting the Tower of Zot should be our highest priority.
I agree. While I still have questions concerning the Forum and their grand undertaking, we have all but exhausted our avenues of investigation. Simply pressing them any harder on the subject will almost certainly result in our expulsion. Therefore, I suggest we explore the ethereal sea connection by way of a letter to Master Matoya, then make our way to Thafnir.
I wonder, even with the protection these talismans afford us, what can we hope to achieve once inside the tower?
Breaking it.
According to Orenvold and Fudola's report, they were unable to free the Emulger. Worse, their attempts triggered the tower's defenses, which led to a summoning of Luna Ifrit.
What does it tell us that the Spires even have such defenses? Simply pulling a prisoner from the wall is fatal, thus the direct approach is doomed to failure from the outset. Any further measures to dissuade such actions seem unnecessary. Unless, of course, there is a way to free the prisoners without killing them. Then it stands to reason that any intruders will be met with overwhelming force.
The towers appeared throughout the world in but the twinkling of an eye. 'Twas by magical means these structures were raised, I surmise. A spire thus conjured must needs be maintained. And I suspect an arcane catalyst, some manner of core, doth lie hidden within. Destroy the core, and the tower ceaseth to be, thus liberating the captives without harm.
Yeah, but y'all didn't count for the fact that the tower would collapse.
So we can hope. And I would prefer to enter the tower with a working theory than with no plan at all.
Assuming Ishtola's reasoning is correct, the chances of the defenses remaining dormant are small to none. Any primals will have to be dealt with, and defeating one will likely only lead to the summoning of another. Our every victory will only compound the prisoner's suffering.
May we not then divide our forces? Those proficient in healing will focus on sustaining the captives. That duty can be covered by Urianger,
Now,
Kryl,
this is the
Sarah,
funny part. Someone's pointed this out, and my friend had to point this out, and it's been pointed out here. I'm gonna take trust for this Tower of Zot. It's the fact that we split up.
by a considerable margin. If you're to fight primals, then you'd best have at least one healer with you.
That's right.
And I am more than happy to fulfill that role. I found wielding a sage's armament to be rather intuitive, and look forward to testing them against a more challenging foe.
It seems we have a plan. All that remains is to carry it out. I will inform Rads at Han of our movements, so let us make our preparations and regroup near the tower.
Go team.
A military post in what's left of the Hamsa hatchery should serve as a convenient staging.
That sounds perfect. And remember, the experimental aetherite at the confluence is there for those who need it, so there's no excuse for being late.
Go team. So, with the group splitting up, obviously we have the healers not really a part of the dungeon. The closest to the board is the great work. That renders trust to the 4 of the remaining people. That would be Thancred, Alfina that has to heal, and Alice and Stydian. But in order for Thancred to use his Gunbreaker abilities, he needs either Urianger or Yustola in the party. But you can't bring either of them along for Tower of Zot, which means Thancred is useless in Tower of Zot. He can't do his abilities because you can't have the requisite needed NPC because they're both in the other group, which means Thancred sucks for Tower. This is why I liked being a tank. Alas, I don't have a tank I can fall back onto here because I said I would play MSQ as Reaper. I really should have gotten to your camp to 81. Alas. I forgot to do that because Thancred is essentially useless as heck in this dungeon. Oh god, do I want to bring Elise or do I want to bring Stydian? Alice can technically AoE, so Alice it shall be. And kiddos. I'm still mad. I think it's useless. Because in order for him to do his Gunbreaker stuff, he needs someone to do the magic imbuing, but he can't, so he needs the requisite ally, but they can't be in the dungeon. Because they're in the other group. And I think this was just an oversight on Square Enix's part because Thancred sucks in this dungeon. We'll see how fast I can make this go as Reaper. Alright team, it's the Tower of Zot, a Final Fantasy IV reference. with Final Fantasy IV music and Final Fantasy IV bosses, because that's what this is. It's Final Fantasy IV. Alright, team. It's Mitra. I'm sorry, but I'm probably always going to hit this one. Can't let you retire just yet. But I wanna. Come on, Thinker, let's get this over with because you suck. I could just do it with people, but I've always preferred the trust. Trust earning. Tower of Zot, now accessible is what it's going to say here. After 5 hours, we finally made it. Okay, friends, sorry yesterday, you're the odd man out. I'm gonna talk to the best catboy. You're gonna save our butts, by the way. Okay, Thinkred. You're gonna suck in this dungeon, but let's get this over with. I've done Tower of Zot like 2 times. Ilshtabar of the Tower of Zot. Alright. Let's get it! Gee, a noob, who could it be? Okay, sorry, Thinker, but we're so doing some big pulls here. Okay, let's do this just right. Oops, I forgot to use Soul again! Oh, and I forgot to do. I do not pretend to be a master of Reaper yet. It's the Magus Sisters. Hang on. Okay, I did have those flipped. Okay, I was trying to replicate my hotbar, but I had two of those flipped. That's why it was weird. I'll replay the dot again. Or my attack again. The Magus Sisters. Oh boy, but let's pretend I remember mechanics. The mechanics. Let's do them. Oh, I'm in first if I was to the LB again. I'm sorry. I learned Sheik and LB and boss even when they're at 0.4% and it's very annoying. So I'm gonna have to take her LB privileges. overshot. Fuck. Okay, so I'm still not that good at the jumping. I can't estimate what 15 yalms is. Pengu has no sense of direction. Okay, Alizé did not waste our LB because it's not popped yet. Woo! We're safe. Onwards and upwards.
Underestimate me!
Did Thinker just super boil? Oh god, was this too big for him? Useless tank! When he can't use his stupid abilities. It's a Final Fantasy IV reference. Onward and upward. finally remembers I can trigger Soul Slow. Whoops. I'm really only supposed to trigger it out of combat is what I picked up. Now then, for another, you guessed it, Final Fantasy IV reference. Whoops, that is not what I wanted to do. I did not want to edit my hopper. And for, you guessed it, a Final Fantasy IV reference, Delta Attack. I am sorry to Alize, I am taking the LB. Yes, I can go faster than she can. Way more useful like that. We don't get to see her for a part in steel, but it is way more useful this way. We did it! Final Fantasy IV, the Dungeon, Part 1 done. Tower of Babel, also a 4 reference. We're never happy at the end of a dungeon. It was outlawed long ago. You suck, Thancred. Still, that wasn't so bad. And now we all gotta get yeeted by Campway magic.
Is everyone alright?
Sanity-wise, no.
We fortified the captives with what magics we could. Have the defenses been disabled? All appears quiet for the moment.
The lower floors were disturbing enough, but this place feels wrong. The ether is heavy and thick, like wading through a quagmire.
I believe we stand in the tower's beating heart. What sayest thou, Ishtola?
I see it. Ether siphoned from the land runs up through the spire, flowing to a single point.
And now I know why they take more than necessary.
This is the core we seek.
It's 'cause anima.
Yet something is off. As large as this structure is, it siphons far more ether than is required to sustain it.
It's taking it for anima, of
It
course.
is as if the
Come
core
on,
is
Anima.
feeding on the energy, consuming it. I need to take a closer look. Curious. There is something there embedded inside the core.
Let's not think about it too much, please.
A man's limb.
That's nice. Isn't
This
it?
is what we came to destroy?
Yes, if you would be so kind.
But you didn't think of the second part. Boop. Puny core.
That should be the end of it.
What now?
My theory that the tower might come crashing down following the core's destruction doth appear to be correct.
Bully for you! And how are we supposed to survive the fall?
What of the prisoners below?
The floor beneath our very feet dissolves. Brace yourselves!
What spell does he cast?
Not too late.
Magical Catboy, activate. Alright, up and at 'em, everyone. Nap time's over.
What happened? Where are we?
The afterlife. Wouldn't that be nice?
By my reckoning, we're still on the island where the tower stood. But 'tis as if it never existed. Hardly a scratch. But how?
Catboy magic.
Graha wove a levitation spell at the last moment. Large enough to catch everyone, it would seem.
Above and beyond.
That explains the lack of obvious injuries.
The expenditure of so much ether has taken its toll. He will need plenty of rest, but should otherwise be none the worse for wear.
Then the immediate problem is what to do with our new friends here. They'll be much changed for their time in the tower. Even if their bodies are intact, I doubt we could say the same for their minds.
Angelo and I will take care of that.
I have every faith in you, Alize, but there are just too many for you to treat alone.
We'll send at once to Eorzea for more Porksies, and call on the local mages to lend a hand.
Hail, Scions! We were watching the tower when it simply disappeared. What happened here?
The threat is banished, and thy people delivered. They are, however, in need of treatment, and we of a secure locale and helping hands to assist us in its provision.
You shall have all this and more. Come, let us convey these unfortunate souls to the city.
I hate that this walk is so far. Oop, I almost went off. I was auto running. Oops. President Han. I technically do know the way, though. I want to try to tag as many ether currents as possible, though. Except not the etherite, because those privileges are revoked until level 85. You don't even get Red Set Han 9 theme yet. Guess I go back the other way. Because I went around. No, I don't want to talk to the Stanian.
we the last to arrive? I hope we've not kept you waiting.
Not at all. Your comrade is feeling better, I trust.
Much better, thank you. Harness remedies are certainly potent, in more ways than one.
One becomes accustomed to the taste, although I hope you never have cause to do so. Pray, take your ease.
Full glad I am to see you all unharmed.
The cat himself.
Valiant scions, for your heroism, you have my boundless gratitude. You cast down that dire tower and set free its hapless captives. You cleanse their souls of its corrupting influence. No words of thanks will suffice. In place of platitudes, I offer a bounty of warding scales. Pray accept your due reward, along with the goodwill of Radzatan.
Alchemists throughout the land were put to work in the forging of your talismans. The finished ones have been collected, and now await you at the High Crucible of Alchemia. Present this letter when you are ready to take them into your possession.
Go team.
We are humbled by your generosity. Know that the inventive wisdom of Radzat Han will be vital in restoring serenity to our star.
Every single one of those scales came from you, didn't they? You must still be in such pain.
'Tis of no moment. A mere annoyance compared to the dreadful suffering inflicted upon this land and its people.
Albeit brief, my involvement in the Dragonsong War afforded me a glimpse of the myriad sorrows which consumed both dragon and man. Though you were half a world away, such tragedies as befell your kin must have affected you deeply. And yet, you chose to live among men.
In the age when that conflict first bloomed, my choice had already been made. In some distant place, man slew dragon, and dragon slaughtered man. Yet no hate could I muster for those smiling faces which did look to me for guidance. Not even my brother's righteous rage could rally me to his cause. I huddled here, secret and still, hoping against hope that which I had built would remain untouched by the chaos and carnage.
Valid, man. Brothers fighting me? Nah, bro.
'Twould seem we share the same desire for peace, great Vritra. To that end, I wonder if we might trouble you with another question. The Telophoroi are intent on recreating the final days, an apocalyptic event which we know to predate the sundering of the star. As the longest lived among us, know you aught of this terrible cataclysm?
Nay. When war and strife drove my sire from his home, he crossed the great expanse with only our unhatched eggs as company. He alighted upon a shattered source, its 13 reflections long since scattered beyond the rift. Of events preceding his arrival, he knoweth naught, save that which Hydralin hath deigned to disclose.
I see. So again, 'tis the inscrutable Hydaelyn to whom we must look for answers.
Seek you to divine the will of this star? If so, I have a tale which may afford you some small comfort. 'Tis a story from my youth, many, many years ago. To my sire, I once posed the question, of all the stars in the sky, why didst thou settle upon this one? To which Midgardsummer did reply, 'twas the last bastion of hope. He believed so long as Hydaelyn endured, so too might dragonkind.
We're gonna kill Hydaelyn later, but don't worry, everything will be fine.
Portentous were his words. What deeper meaning they held, I could not, dared not pursue. 'Tis a stone I've left unturned ever since. Yet take you solace in the knowledge that whatsoever Hydralin does strive towards, 'tis an ideal which hath earned my sire's conviction.
Thank you, Vritra. You've given us warm reassurance in a world gripped by cold uncertainty.
While I'm sure we all have a great many questions, I think it's time we collect the talismans and be on our way. Our fight against the Telophoroi is far from finished.
We must take our leave, but please do inform us if we can provide any further assistance.
We'll come back at 85 to save y'all from the final days. Because that's where it starts, here. In the very chill land.
A moment. There is one whom my sire hath judged worthy of honor and respect. The one known to men as Eorzea's champion. This hero of renown and rumor, 'tis thee.
Never did Omega, so the Omega option is not there.
In accordance with the covenant he forged with Hydralin, the stewardship of this star hath ever been his purpose. Silence in the face of thine actions is the greatest sign of his approval. 'Twas a revelation most pleasing that thou, a child of man, had gained Midgardsummer's trust. But alongside mine elation runneth a rivulet of dread. For upon thy life's reel wind too many threads of fate, power, weal enmeshed with woe. Amid breaks this tangled knot, thou shalt know no rest. 'Tis an endless confluence of forces, a struggle without cease.
It's okay, because I might die, but I won't die. I almost nearly died.
Upon thy companions, as they are swept up in the storm of thine existence.
They all die, but then come back. And we remember the deaths of everyone important.
Take heart and protect them well. They will be your strength and your salvation.
Oh man, they sure will be. They sure will be.
Even cowering behind my curtain, I know the suffering of the powerful. I have watched my siblings driven mad by loss. Thus do I exhort thee to spare no effort to keep thy loved ones safe.
Apologies. We hadn't meant to interrupt.
It's just that we do have a history of suddenly collapsing, and when you didn't follow us out...
'Tis I must apologize. I have detained your champion overlong with idle chatter.
It's not idle chatter if it's important.
Go. At war's end, I pray I welcome thee back into my hall, where together with thy joyful comrades, you may toast your triumph.
He was telling me to protect my friends. That's what he was doing. That's essentially what he was doing. No, Allie's it. There we go. So many stairs in our city-states. I tried to count the stairs in the Crystarium. I got to 200. And I've tried so many times to count the ones in Yelmore, but that's upward in a circular motion. It's hard. I can't have Aetheryte privileges yet, so I won't even bother. Yeah. Oh, best camp boy. Burger soon.
These are the talismans we were promised.
Yes, and I made a quick count. There are far more than we could have hoped for. Enough to outfit an entire company of soldiers, in fact. Considering the involved process, that they were able to manufacture so many in such a short span of time is nothing short of a miracle.
Once we have distributed them to our allies in Eorzea and the Far East, we'll have a fighting chance to bring down the other spires, just as we did with the Tower of Zot.
Or we could use them to invade Garlemald proper, and strike directly at the Telophoro's base of operations.
Let's do it!
Of course, we would need to consult with various alliance leaders before such a drastic measure could even be contemplated. To which end, I could set out forthwith and present the idea to each of our allies in person.
Pray allow me to undertake some few of those journeys. I find myself restless and in need of purposeful duties.
I can head eastward. Bosnia and Dalmasca are just a short hop from here. And Doma's shinobi network should come in handy for passing on the word.
We shall share the burden then.
Yeah!
Meanwhile, I think it best that you and the others take the talismans back to the Baldessian Annex. We must keep them safe and secure until we've decided upon a course of action.
Please, I must speak with you.
Nidana, you're awake.
Yes. When I spoke with the carer at my bedside, she told me that one of the scions, a young woman, had cleansed me of the tower's corruption. It seems I'd been asleep ever since the treatment. But when I awoke and learned you were all still here, I knew I had to go.
Good elephant.
As you said, Nidana was captured only recently. Such a brief exposure is swiftly cured, so I tended to her before we gathered at Megaduta.
And I am truly grateful that you did. I cannot thank you enough. All of you, for everything you've done. Destroying the tower, rescuing our people. You've saved Thavnir from an awful
You've saved Thavnir from an awful fate. Well. The final days have something else to say about that.
Yet who hath truly saved whom? Due in no small part to thine inspirational courage, the alchemists were successful in reproducing warding scales of proven...
It was a team effort from everyone.
Replications of thy work now stand ready to travel across the seas, unto the hands of those who might wield them against this rising evil.
Yeah, go team.
Talisman? Is this true?
you think those boxes are?
Oh, I was so groggy from sleep. I didn't even think to ask. Oh, our great work sent across the seas. It was worth it. Oh, it was all worth it.
It's my flower. It's glowing.
Look at that. Its color is completely changed. What do you have there?
It's a magical flower that will help me time travel.
How unusual. I wonder if the effect is a reaction to Akasha.
I'm afraid I'm not familiar with that term.
Akasha? It is one of the unseen energies defined by Harnish alchemical theory. Though a gross oversimplification, some describe it as an essence influenced by feelings.
You imply that it is distinct from ether?
Foreign scholars
Dynamis.
often conflate the two, but we see them as separate concepts. Ether is an energy which permeates the land. It exists within animals, objects, even the air we breathe, affecting all through which it flows. Akasha, on the other hand, exists in a domain beyond our reach. A gift bestowed from on high, or torn from the heavens in some traditions. Akasha can neither be created nor destroyed. It is beyond our power to purposefully alter or manipulate.
Dynamis.
The only thing observed to influence it is an abundance of, I want to say, spiritual emotion. As a veteran of the battlefield, surely you've experienced moments of desperation or exaltation when you've transcended the usual limits of your capabilities.
My inky energy.
Is a manifestation of Akasha, the invisible essence harnessed by heart, mind, and unyielding spirit.
I really must hear more about this theory. Our disciplines are based entirely upon the idea that ether is the fundamental form of all energy.
I'm glad my haphazard explanation has piqued your interest. But even for us, Akasha is a somewhat abstract field of study. A lack of practice.
Don't worry, I'll time travel to find it out, figure it out.
To formalized research. Which is why my analysis of your flower can amount to little more than idle speculation. I am sorry.
Nonsense. You have nothing to be sorry for. Your insight is much appreciated.
Let's go get a burger. My happy flower aside.
Shall we depart for Charlian then? I will see to it that the talismans arrive at the annex.
And we will be in touch once our talks are concluded. I suggest you rest while you can. From here onward, sleep is bound to be in short supply.
And back we go. Cannon, food time. Time for burger. No, I'm sorry. I was too busy hyping up the fact that it's canon dinner time with the Scions. Ah, the best scene. When the squad gets...
Take heart and protect them well.
Good, you're here. You haven't eaten yet, have you?
The squad.
We've bought quite a spread if you're interested. Only the finest dining from the last stand.
It's canon nom time with the Scions. We eating dinner and Gaha gets his burger. He gets his burger. Look at him go with it.
Lest you wonder, we invited Estinian as well. But he refused with a rather grim-faced, "No, thank you." I suspect Charlian cuisine is not to his liking.
Oh, I don't know about that. Perhaps our lone wolf just needed some time apart.
What? To perfect his brooding stare? Next time, I'll drag him out by the ear, sit him down in front of a Charlian feast, and see that he eats every last bite.
An excellent idea. Of all people, warriors must take proper meals and rest if they are to maintain a healthy constitution.
Poor Estinian, beset on all sides.
Speaking of one's physical condition, Mistress Quile, I hear you recently played literal host to Heidelin herself.
And what an experience that was. Tiring, yes, but no lasting harm done. If anything, I should have liked to speak with her longer. I've not felt a hint of her presence since.
She's taking a nap, prepping up for our trial fight.
Heidelin instructed you to carry that flower, yes? Twill be your guide, test and proof of your conviction. And then something about seeking joy
Friendship.
in darkness, was it? Come to think of it, isn't that what happened with Nidana back in Rad's at Han?
The flower did seem to radiate a joyful glow, as if reflecting the elation we all felt. The relief of a people with renewed hope.
Indeed. And in turn, I felt buoyed by that radiance. 'Twas akin to spotting a beacon and knowing we were on the right path. I know we've not yet triumphed over the Telophoroi, or learned the full breadth of the Forum's plans. But even within the midst of our struggles, we find small moments of joy to sustain us. Rare and hard-won perhaps, but it is this pursuit of happiness that gives us the strength to carry on day after day.
It's mine.
To the swift the spoils. Though I recall that levitation spell of yours was quick enough.
Only barely. And even at my best, I'm still too slow to wield it effectively in battle. Mayhap I simply require more practice with this new magic.
You unearthed it from the depths of Numenon, I presume?
Aye, and from a veritable mountain of arcane tomes at that. 'Twas necessary to facilitate my solitary exploration.
I love this scene so much.
To put it simply, you used it to sneak around the forbidden archives.
Yes, well, after a fashion.
He's short.
They're tall, you see. The shelves, they're too tall for me. And I could hardly move the library's platforms without attracting attention now, could I?
Oh.
When you're short. I'm glad this game gave me canon dinner scene with the Scions. Garhog got his burger. Moonshot.
I'm not that ambitious. But 'tis pleasant to idle away the hours every once in a while.
This is our last moment of peace and quiet. Before we get yanked into whatever you want to call the next part. 82, 83, whatever you want to call the 83, the 84 and 85.
Enjoying the bracing cold, I see. Do you not own a warm coat or a cloak? Something in fur? Or fashioned from the skins of your enemies? Or... well, never mind that. I come to you once more as the bearer of bad news. Our tower in Thavnir has been toppled, and I need not tell you by whom. Given how many we have at our disposal, the loss of a single spire is hardly fatal to our plans. It does, however, slow the rate at which we siphon ether. If they continue to preoccupy themselves with the towers, then all will be well. But should our foe prove bold enough to strike at us here, then the timing becomes...
We're on our way, Fandaniel. I don't want to come to the dinner date.
Our foe is bold enough. Of that, I can assure you.
Yes, very well then. I suppose I must prepare a proper welcome. Honestly, talk of your nemesis is the only thing you seem to enjoy. Does nothing else spark your interest?
I can't wait to punch Xenos.
No. All else is... equal.
I'm gonna freaking punch you again.
Equally tedious. Equally disappointing.
But he's got a point, man. I too hate the world.
The world is a tepid bog into which we sink, too weak to thrash as the mud clings to our eyes and fills our throats till we blissfully choke. But then
came the light. Blinding and pure and hot.
Moonshot.
So very hot. Enough to set my soul aflame. I basked in the afterglow until the void yawned once more. And then I knew the muck would never claim me again. There was naught for me ahead, so I drew the curtain on all that had come before. Burn. Let the whole star burn. I will have my contest.
See, if this were my first run, I would say I hate this obsession, but now that I know how this all goes, I don't mind it.
How wonderful that the emptiness of death has not dissuaded you from committing your life to its pursuit once more. I don't know whether to envy you or pity you.
You question my disinterest, but what of yours? Despite your noisome antics, I sense you take little pleasure in this endeavor.
Mercy, my lord. Such pointed barbs from one who barely acknowledges my existence. Nevertheless, you are mistaken. For I do find this part somewhat enjoyable. You see, when I was mortal, I would always have the same dream. It was a fragmented thing, disjointed, all the faces incomplete. The setting, too, was unknown to me, so I thought it simply a fantasy of my sleeping mind. Until one day, I realized it was showing me the truth. Much as your dream of the final days enlightened you. And soon, very soon, the rest of the world will see the truth of my dream, too. Yes, I think that is something we can both enjoy.
Except he was never planning on that. He wasn't planning on sticking around because he was just gonna die. Him and Zodiark. On wings of hope, you rise up through the night. Hi-ya. Oh, hi-ya. Good stuff so far. I'm really enjoying it. The replay here. The real question is, do I keep going or do I stop? To which I will confer with my friend really fast.